Next thing on our agenda is a public presentation and a comment period of 20 minutes, time limit. The public presentation time is intended as an opportunity for the public to give input on relative issues and not intended as a question and answer period. Do we have it, Emily, do we have any?
Yes, sir. Mr. Paul Gabbard.
Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. Is this on the agenda issues?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Paul Gabbard, 1221 Valley View Drive. There's a thing on the agenda for paying for the EDA personnel attorneys. I don't think there's too many people in the county that are very happy with this. Nobody was happy with paying the old board attorneys. Nobody was happy with paying the county administrator's attorney fees. Not when you were looking at $15,000 for the county attorney administrator and the one supervisor. I didn't mean to say attorney. Those two bills were paid without question from anybody. The old board didn't question $15,000 to an attorney, nor did they question $14,000 to another attorney, and everybody else's was $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I can't believe that the old board didn't question any of the amounts, especially $14,000, $15,000. Everybody that was involved, from the EDA board to the county administrator to the old board, was guilty. But it just so happens that the things that they were put on, the things that they were charged with, happened to be not crimes in the state of Virginia. How convenient that was that our old Commonwealth attorney brought those charges against them. But every one of these people are guilty. Somebody should pay the price. We pay as taxpayers money to the EDA for everything. They are volunteers. They turned a blind eye to what was going on like everybody else did. Let the EDA take the money out of their own funds to pay for these attorneys if that's what they want to do, if they want to pay for these attorneys. We as taxpayers shouldn't pay for these attorneys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Mrs. Moss, are there others?
No one else has signed up for agenda items.
I did.
Did you sign up on the general comment period one?
Well, she's welcome to speak anyway.
Okay, I did, but I put it on the public hearing, is okay?
He told you to speak.
Yeah, come on up.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Name and address and
Yes, sir. Leslie Matthews, 143 Matthews Lane, Bentonville.
You try to speak to the microphone.
He's coming up to fix the mic.
I think y'all all know who I am. I'm sorry.
They don't know who you are, TV man.
Oh, in TV land. Oh, okay, I don't want to be there anyway. All right, Leslie Matthews, 143 Matthews Lane, Bentonville, Virginia. And I just want to say it's a pleasure to see you three new faces here. I love it, and I thank you. Thank you all. Tonight, I'm going to speak on about the EDA request that's on the agenda as well. About how they've asked for reimbursement of their board's attorney's fees and how they've asked to receive assistance to survive. So I'm going to ask all of you to please pay close attention to 5 bullet points that I'm about to share with you. Number 1, the county does not have an obligation to reimburse these attorney's fees, nor is it our responsibility to provide an opportunity for the EDA to right their ship. Number 2, although the EDA board are volunteers, these people have and are also appointed by town council members from the past and the board of supervisors. and they have played a role in the local government of Warren County. One was a past supervisor himself. Then he became an EDA board member. So I want to show you guys, let me see here. Here's my Northern Virginia Daily paper. Yeah, you can see it, Mr. Stanley. It is dated June the 20th of 18. Okay, I keep these things because I keep a close eye on things that are going on. This newspaper, front page, states that the same board member that's on the EDA, or was, he resigned now, that he had at times owed the county $200,000 to $300,000 in back taxes. I rechecked our delinquent site today for Warren County, and his business names still remain on it. And honestly, I am tired, personally, I am tired of subsidizing for him and his businesses by paying more and more taxes every year. 6 years of increase is outrageous, and we're on our 7th, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, but who knows. Then there's another member that y'all are looking at and paying his fees. Here's our past school superintendent. He was the highest paid employee in this county. Then there's another one, served as the treasurer for 30 years. And still, there isn't any correction regarding this embezzled $21 million. Number 3, the town did not hesitate in filing a lawsuit against the EDA, but the county has not put forth any effort to do so. Or has the county ever revealed how much money it was overcharged by the EDA? But they have chosen to become the EDA's fiscal agent as of July 1st of 2019. Now that makes me want to keep digging. Number 4, I have a resolution here, and I'm saying this mainly for my new people here. This resolution, and I can give you a copy if you don't have it, was unanimously adopted on January 16th of 2018 by the Board of Supervisors and signed by then Chairman Tony Quirk and County Administrator and the Clerk, Doug Stanley, where county taxpayers are paying $26,000 a month for the 426 Ball Drive property that is owned by the EDA. Number 5, the county is now once again in your budget process for fiscal year 20 and 21. So therefore, there needs to be a focus on our county departments and keeping this ship from sinking. So these are the 5 things that I hope that you all take into consideration, because these were not brought up. It's just always, can we give them more? Can we pull more money, more money? I'm tired of paying more money, guys. I have a family too. There's people out there. When I campaigned, there was people out there hurting. They can't keep on paying. And we need to be wise in how we're using the tax dollars. So with these facts that are brought before you tonight, there shouldn't be any reason for any agonizing over making a decision that best fits the hardworking taxpaying citizens of this county. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Mounts, any additional thoughts?
Not for the agenda.
Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak? Yes, ma'am. Would you please state your name and address, please?
Hello, my name is Dee Schools. I live at 467 Freeze Road in London. I spoke in front of you at the work session last Tuesday, and I really appreciate all the attention to looking over our money and trying to see what you can do to better spend for us. I really appreciate the time you spent. I spoke a little bit about the road revenue sharing programs and how much more they're asking from Shenandoah Farms this year in taxes to help pay for these. One of the things that I didn't bring up, that I don't know, especially the 3 new members, if you're aware, a few years ago they made a decision to allow builders not to have to pay up their back taxes on all the lots. They could get a building, they only had to pay on the lot that they were getting a building permit for. But all the other lots that they own in our community, they can remain in the rears. So as Shenandoah Farms looks to raise, $40 on some residents, $80 on others, these builders will still not be responsible to pay for their back taxes until they decide to build on the lot. So that was just something I wanted to bring to your attention. Thank you so much.
May I offer a comment? Dee, have you talked to your board of supervisors? Your board at Shenandoah Farms?
The Property Owners Association?
Yes, the property owner. Have you
Yes,
talked to them?
we do not fall under the Virginia Property Owners Act of Virginia because our membership is not mandatory. So in most communities, you buy a house, you automatically become a member of the association. That is not the way it is in Shenandoah Farms. We have no mandatory membership. So I'm actually not a member of the association. I was at one time and I sat on the association board for quite a few years. But I decided that being a member is just not, since the sanitary district and the roads are taken care of by tax dollars, the association is just not, it's not something I'm a member of. So our community is a little different. We were set up as a recreational community. They represent, last I checked, out of, what are we at, over 2,000 lots, they represent 31 people, 31 individuals. So that could be a husband and a wife in the same household. The board is like 10 people, so there's 10 members. They're the advisory board to the Board of Supervisors for our tax dollars. They're not like Lakefront Royal where they have an advisory board that's not the association. So it's become kind of difficult to get a lot of people that are buying in our community don't even know that we have an association. Realtors don't tell them. And it's, like I said, membership's not mandatory. So, yes, I can go there and speak again, but they since 2006, I think they pretty much know how I feel about it. And I know there's quite a few differences of opinions, but taxes were raised last year, assessments were raised, looking at raising them again. County's trying to get a strap on those purse strings a little bit, budgeting like you would your household budget, like I talked to Vice Chair Colors about, looking at our budget. We can't just keep spending, so.
Understood. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Stanley,
Yes, sir.
is there a way that we can address that at all? From a board of supervisors to the county to try to figure out how we can collect taxes when taxes are due? And
So-
maybe I'm off base here,
No.
but I at least want to talk about
In your packet, each month at the second meeting, there's an update from the 2 outside firms that handle our delinquent real estate tax collection. And part of my report, we've got an upcoming tax sale of a lot of those properties, I believe, in Shenandoah Farms. I'll report on that. That's a couple ways. The board a few years ago, and previously there was not a requirement in the code, the Board of Supervisors passed an ordinance that stated if you have not paid your taxes on a particular parcel, you cannot pull any building permits for said parcel. As part of that process, we had advertised any property a contractor would own. If you remember coming out of the recession, I think the board felt like, if a contractor owed on 50 lots they owned, and they couldn't pull any permits, there's no way they're going to be able to earn any money to be able to repay on those other lots. At least they pull the building permit, build a house on it. When it gets sold, all the taxes have to be paid, and that will be, kind of at least back on the tax rolls as a taxable parcel. That was the decision the board made. This board could have another public hearing and advertise and say, you know what? If you owe any taxes for anything, you can't be in business in Warren County. You could consider doing that. The danger is, again, if you're not allowing those contractors to build any houses, will they be able to raise any revenue, or will they simply transfer that property into another person's name, build the house on it, maybe from that standpoint, and figure out a way to get around the system. But we had proposed for any lot, the board backed off that, made the decision only for the lot in question that was being built upon, but the board certainly could reconsider that at some point down the road if it wants to.
Any additional comment?
I definitely think that's something that we need to get, I need to have more information on. I wasn't aware of that at all. So I'd like to have a work session to go into that more in depth and consider if it's something we want to continue that way or change it.
Mrs. Mounts, could you add that to our work session next time? Thank you very much. Any additional comment from the audience? Yes, sir, Mr. Bagley.
Steve.
Could you state your name and address, please?
Yes, sir. Harold Bagley, 327 Liberty Hall Road, Front Hall, Virginia, 22630. I can give you my phone number if necessary.
No, that's not correct.
I disagree with Mr. Stanley when he stated, nobody subsidizes me or any other contractor in the state of Washington, D.C., except Warren County. I do not agree. I do not want to subsidize anybody when I don't get a piece of the pie. I don't see them subsidizing me. I don't get anything from this county but a shaft and high-priced taxes. Why, if they can't be a contractor like anybody else, they're in the wrong damn business, my friend. And they're not qualified to be contractors. And a good contractor have enough money to carry him through. These Flybournites want it all for nothing. And that is my opinion, in my opinion only, from 45 years of construction in Washington, D.C., where I worked on billions of dollars of construction. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Bagley. Any additional comment from the audience?
I'm Linda McDonough, and I live at 1205 High Top Road in Virginia. And I was here to discuss about the raising our sanitary district fees. And I am one of these people that do have many lots, and 2 of them are not built on, and I don't get this cut from my sanitary district. I have to pay on all 3 of them. I have a neighbor who has like 6 lots. And her house is on 1 lot, and then all the other lots are there. She has to pay the sanitary district and taxes on every single one of those lots. And this is the Shenandoah Farms Sanitary District Capital Improvement Plan that they showed at the meeting for Shenandoah Farms. And I can't go through all of it because we'd be here for a while, and I just keep getting more upset and upset, but 2 of these items on here that are proposed, of one of the reasons why they want to raise our taxes is mailbox access, addressing drainage issues, and stabilizing and paving access to community cluster mailboxes at Mountain Lake Drive by the community center. That's going to cost $35,000. Okay, Old Linden parking lot. This is by the road where I live on High Top. They want to upgrade, stabilize, and pave an existing sanitary district lot that we purchased so we could have this parking lot for inclement weather. And so they want to pave it, which, oh my golly, you pave that up there in the snow, because actually on the mountain it should be chains required in inclement weather. Chains, cables, studded snow tires. Nothing can go up and down that mountain unless you got them on. And you pave that parking lot up there, good golly, when they come up there and push that snow out of there, and then you're in your two-wheel drive trying to get to the hard top that's already been taken care of, you're not gonna be able to do it. It's just impossible. But that project is $100,000. Now, this is just absolutely ridiculous, and I'm really afraid to tell my neighbor about this increase because she's an elderly woman and on her own, and it's just gonna be devastating to her if you guys do this, because once you raise the unimproved lots to equal the improved lots, then you're gonna raise it again. You're talking, it'd be 80 for the unimproved lot, and then another 40 for the improved lot. And that's 3 times for me and my family. So I do not support this whatsoever, and we need to figure out that for 10 years, we've done 5 miles of these road revenue projects. 10 years. My road has lowered at least a foot because all of the grading that they do, and then they come by with the snow plows and take another bit of road off every time, instead of saying, excuse me, you need to have chains. Chains are required. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there additional comments in place in the audience from the board? Let's move on to our reports from the board members and the county administrator and the county attorney. I'm sorry?
General comment.
Ms. Allen, what did you say?
There was another sheet that said general comment, and I want to speak, and I signed up under that.
Okay, you're more than welcome.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Allen, I'm sorry we missed you.
I was waiting my turn. Okay, that was fine. Thank you for making the exception. I'm sorry that there's such a tension. Well, good evening, Chairman May and members of the Board of Supervisors and staff. I'm Linda Allen, residing at 15 Massey Street, Frontwell, Virginia. And I do regret the tension in the room tonight about the EDA situation. I have a program to tell you about that would address some of the issues that have been brought up. And what I see is that not enough information to explain the situation has been publishable yet. So this program would really help people to understand some of the actions or past actions of the loans and so on and so forth, and how much we don't know. All right, so my formal statement is I'm deeply aware, as you are, about the issues in town and county with economic development. There's certainly much to learn about unraveling the truth of the recent past. Yet who is talking about our current status? How well positioned are we for growth? How does the town relate to the county and to EDA, and who is doing what? If we want to know the answers to those questions, the people who can help us are accountants, planners and zoning administrators, members of governance, and staff of EDA. Unfortunately, they are going to talk at Samuel's Library, February 6th at 6 p.m. and running on perhaps at 7:45 p.m. A 4-member panel has some interesting and even exciting news about our current status. They are experienced, knowledgeable, creative, forward-thinking people, and we are positioned for success. I am predicting that if you come, you will want to ask questions, you want to make creative suggestions, and better still, you will sleep better tonight, that night, knowing the talent we have available here as staff, and that they are on the job. This is a chance to celebrate what we have and are doing. It's an opportunity to put the puzzle pieces together in a coherent picture, a sense of vision, in which we all benefit for quality of life and for taxation levels. So I'm inviting you to Samuel's Library for a program about economic development, February 6th at 6 p.m. to 7:45, and I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Are there any other additional comments so I don't step over somebody else?
I've got a new one on a different subject.
Is it on, if it's on our agenda, that's
No, not on the agenda.
not on the agenda, then at the end of the program, there'll be an open, a little bit of an open session. Reports from the board members and the county administrator.
I have nothing.
You have not?
I do. On January 20th, which was yesterday, I attended a service for the celebration of the life of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And it was sponsored by the NAACP in Warren County, and it was absolutely wonderful. It was a bringing together of all peoples, of all races, and we celebrated Dr. King's message of equality, and we prayed and we praised God in this service. And next year, I hope you all can join us because it was amazing. And I also attended the Samuel Public Library Board meeting, which I'm now on the committee, on January 13th. And on January 17th, I attended an organizational meeting, and this is awesome stuff, to create a video to enter an HGTV contest for Warren County, and it's called Hometown Takeover. And we are going to highlight Warren County, and they are going to come in if you win and take over just a few buildings and just give it a facelift. But the real purpose of our organization, our little committee, is to just do something positive to bring people together in Warren County for a common purpose. So anyway, our next meeting is this Wednesday. It's at 7 p.m. It's at the middle of Main Street in Beth Waller's meeting room. And if you guys want to come, we're going to be brainstorming like which buildings, which places to put in our video, and how to highlight some of the best things that we have to offer in this wonderful community. So sorry, but I was longer than Cheryl last time.
Archie, would you?
No, I only think that I also attended the library board meeting on January 13th during Andrew Lawrence board. Thank you.
I know you kept me the last second, I was going to talk the longest. January 13th, I got together with the Game and Inland Fisheries, VDOT, and we met at the bridge in Bentonville. It used to be Lovewood Bridge, but now it's New Bridge. And there's a safety issue there that was brought to my attention, and so I pulled them together for a meeting. That's also a very busy, we also had two outfitters. Downriver Canoe Company was presented by John Gibson, and Front Rural Outfitters, I think is still the name, was Don Roberts was there. And that is one of the busiest boat landings in Virginia, thankfully. Brings in a lot of revenue for the county, and it's in pretty sad shape. So I brought them together to try to see what we can do, and it was a really good meeting. And Game and Inland Fisheries is going to dig in their pockets to try to get a ramp there, or to get a ramp there, and hoping to have that done by spring. Won't cost the county a dime. So that one I'm really happy about. And then we're going to put in for the DuPont grant money to try to get a roundabout, so that when you go down there, instead of backing down and pulling up, and it's just a very kind of clustered area there, it'll be a circle that's made so that you can make a circle there. And we're also going to work with the fire department so that it's an area that they can get there to be able to draft water if they need to, which is kind of difficult at this point. So I was really pleased that one came off as well as it did. Mr. Stanley was there as well. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out. January 20th, I also attended Martin Luther King, and it was just a very inspirational time of gathering together, and the theme was "We're not there yet," and I encourage everyone to go next year. It was really a nice event. And today I was at a meeting for the CPMT, and I will leave it there.
Mr. Stanley?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, a few things I want to highlight on my report. First, in review of the new home construction for 2019, I want to report that we had a total of 150 new home starts for the calendar year. Of that number, 24 were located inside the town limits, and remaining 126 outside town limits. As a comparison, 2018, we had a total of 157 new home starts. The 150 represents the second year in a row of decreased construction. Our annual growth rate in housing stock dropped to 0.88%, which remains below our 2 to 3% maximum outlined in the Warren County Comprehensive Plan. Delinquent tax sale, TACS, has scheduled its next auction of delinquent real estate tax here in the boardroom of the Warren County Government Center, February 20th at 2 p.m. And once we have a finalized list, we'll publish that on Facebook and on the county website. Broadband, the governor's office is working to bring high-speed internet service to every Virginian by the year 2028. They've been working to increase grant funding for localities to work with internet service providers. The draft budget has $70 million over the next budget biennium. We're talking with the governor's office and Comcast and CenturyLink about the underserved areas of the community to see if we could potentially put in a grant application together. FY 2021 budget, the board has a budget work session scheduled with outside agencies next Tuesday the 28th at 7 p.m. here at the Government Center. Ethics training, representatives from Workforce Solutions and Continuing Education Center of LFCC are conducting training sessions entitled Ethics in the Workplace at the Community Center. That was both today and we have another session tomorrow. Attendance for the sessions was mandatory for county department heads and respective supervisory level staff, either the deputy or assistant department heads, officers including lieutenants and above, managers, supervisors, and or foremen. For constitutional officers, they were welcome and encouraged to participate, provide staff from each office to include the same level of supervisory staff. The sessions are designed specifically for ethical issues facing local governments with real-life scenarios. Tourism Committee met on October 9th. The committee Community Wayfinding Signage Initiative continues to move forward. The sign locations are being reviewed by staff and the information will be submitted to VDOT within the coming weeks for approval. Committee is continuing to explore joint tourism ideas to expand upon the town's initiatives. The full tourism committee will meet again on February 12th. And the last item, fire and rescue training facility. Bids for the project were due on January 16th. We received 3 bids for the project and they are currently being reviewed prior to making a recommendation to the board. The only other item I wanted to touch on at the work session last week, there was a concern raised about the fact that Skyline High School was used as collateral for the VRA bond for Leitron Parkway. I wanted to provide some information. So the school board has the general power to lease property, either as leasee or lessor, under section 22.1-129B of the Code of Virginia. There is no restriction that the lease of school-owned properties cannot serve as security for county capital projects. Skyline High School lease as security continues to be used for school purposes. Back in 2012, the board had refinanced the bonds from 2004-05 that we had for building Warren County and Skyline High Schools to take advantage of lower tax rates. That was done through the Virginia Resource Authority, and Skyline High School, which had been completed and opened in 2007, was used as collateral. In 2014, the county, looking for options for long-term financing of land and improvements for Leitron Parkway, the access road for the new middle school, both IDA bank financing and the Virginia Resource Authority options were looked at. VRA indicated that the leasehold interest in Skyline High School provided adequate additional financing with the prior sale that was done back in 12, and they accepted that as collateral. The school board was approached with this option and agreed to an amendment to the 2012 lease documents to add the 2014 Leitron Parkway project as an eligible project. The benefit to the school board was obvious, as the new middle school would rely on Leitron Parkway for access, which was specifically determined in the school board's approving resolution they passed for that 2014 financing. And there was no additional encumbrance of school other properties needed to enable that financing. So I just wanted to state that was looked at and addressed by bond counsel, and I think that ends that issue.
Mr. Stanley, can you tell me what the total of the bonds are that we have with the VRA at this time?
I can provide you a list because we've refinanced a couple times, but yes.
Because this is separate and apart from budgetary.
Absolutely.
And
And
I wasn't sure that there was a separate and apart from budgetary.
And there's a section of the county's audit, which is online, which includes a listing of all outstanding bond issuances from
Okay,
all sources, but specifically I get you the VRAs.
thank you.
One question, Mr. Cheney. Is it Rivermont Fire Department, is that on schedule?
Yes, sir. Steel erection has been completed. We're working on closing the building. We're still on target for a fall of 2020 completion.
Thank you. Mr. Penn?
I have no report. Happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Questions for Mr. Penn? Thank you.